years of trusted real estate agent experience in Central Ohio, all share invaluable insights.
Hey, welcome in to a Friday show. Guardians still alive and hopefully bound for the ALCS against the hated Yankees, but we got a little work to do on Saturday night. Looking forward to doing the show with you today. Thanks for joining. I hear the band playing, so let's get it started. Great to be with you on a Friday edition of the Bruce Hooley Show. I love Fridays. Yeah, who doesn't? Weekend is upon us. We have the Cleveland Guardians, Indians, still alive in the American League Baseball playoffs by the hair of their chinny chin chin. They only now have to face the best pitcher in the American League, but hopefully they will get that done on Saturday night. Same time the Buckeyes are playing. Ooh, dilemma for everybody across Central Ohio. Got to get the multiple TV set up. Oregon, Ohio State, and the Guardians against the Tigers. But that's not why I'm excited. I'm excited because the Columbus Dispatch, on one hand today, doing actual journalism, and on another hand, proving they are horrible at journalism. Let's start with the good stuff, because I know there have been those who say, how dare you wish the demise upon the Columbus Dispatch? That's your profession, Bruce. Don't you have any friends there anymore? Yeah, I have a few. How can I wish for their demise? Well, because I don't like people who poison other people, and the Dispatch specializes in poisoning people's minds with inaccuracies. But, like I said, they did do some actual journalism today. Jordan Laird with a story on the one-year anniversary of Columbus Mayor Andrew Ginther phoning a municipal court judge trying to pressure her to shut down a bus terminal on the city's west side. The call from Ginther to municipal court judge Stephanie Mingo took place on October 11th, 2023. Happy anniversary, Andy. Because while Stephanie Mingo kept this quiet that it was Andrew Ginther who placed the call conveniently until after Ginther was elected to a third term, I am heartened because the possible penalty for Andrew Ginther interfering in this case in the way that he did is 90 days in jail and a $750 fine. Now, does anyone really think that in a county where you can't get elected as a judge anymore or reelected unless you switch your political affiliation from Republican to Democrat, does anybody think that a judge in Franklin County is going to sentence Andy Ginther to time at the Gray Bar Motel? No, but it is a delicious possibility to contemplate. So what did Andy Ginther do? He called Stephanie Mingo because people near the Greyhound bus terminal on Wilson Road were calling to complain about crime, litter, traffic, and other problems. I don't know why this bothered Andy, because it seemed to me there'd be a fair amount of people in Columbus calling to complain about crime, litter, traffic, and other problems, since that pretty much proliferates all over Central Ohio. But in this case, it came to light that Andrew Ginther called a judge, which, is not allowed. And so the guy who ran against Ginther and got waxed, because all Republicans get waxed when they run against Democrats in the city, Joe Motel, argued that this is not allowed. And so we had a case came before Zach Klein, and Zach Klein decided that, this might put me in a pickle, so I'm going to say that I have a conflict of interest, which of course he does, because he works for Andrew Ginther. And so he appointed a special prosecutor. And we do not have a report yet from that special prosecutor. Whitehall City Attorney Brad Nicodemus is the special prosecutor. Man, this must be a complex case. Of course, Brad's working in Whitehall, so he's got plenty of crime coming across his desk. And he's double timing it, working on his Whitehall issues and working on his Andrew Ginther illicit phone call issues. According to the Dispatch report this morning, Zach Klein says he does not know the status of the investigation. Now, I will say, I think Zach Klein is a rotten city attorney. I think Zach Klein is crooked. But in this case, I don't find it odd that he does not have an update, because if you have a conflict of interest and you're always meddling and calling the special prosecutor, that would look bad. So I don't find Zach Klein's position that he does not know what's going on here all that odd. I do find it odd that Nicodemus will not call the dispatch back and answer any questions. I do find that odd. But Joe Modell has said that Klein should never have been the guy to appoint the special prosecutor, that it should have been done by a judge. I don't know that it would have made a whole lot of difference in Franklin County or even in the 10th District Court of Appeals. Modell has lost twice in court. He now has his appeal before the Ohio Supreme Court. We'll see if they take that case. So the most interesting thing in this story to me is a quote from a former Ohio Deputy Attorney General. His name is Mark Weaver. And Weaver is the guy who says Ginther could go to jail for this. He says, as a special prosecutor, I would tell my investigator to find out if the substance of the call was to obstruct the judge from giving fair treatment to the defendant. If the purpose of the call was to obstruct the judge from giving fair treatment to the defendant, that's a potential problem under the obstructing official business statute. Well, what did Ginther tell Judge Stephanie Mingo, who, by the way, has recused herself from this case? Mingo has testified in court that Ginther told her that she needed to, quote, do the right thing. That sounds like a little pressure campaign coming from the mayor's office. So we stand by and see Mingo is not in any trouble, except that I do find it rotten that she didn't disclose that the elected official who called her, she didn't name Ginther as the elected official until after Ginther had won a third term. Sounds a little fishy to me, but hey, we can go into the weekend hoping that the guy who has turned our city into Dodge City, the guy who only cares about safety in the city when the National Conference of Mayors is coming into town, and it might reflect poorly on him if people are murdered in a high-populated entertainment district like the Short North, the guy who has clownishly allowed 500,000 residents security data, their addresses, their social security numbers, and other things to be compromised by a data hack that he could have paid $1.6 million to get back, but now has instead invested $7 million additional dollars in cybersecurity, and the bill continues to climb higher virtually every day or month. That guy, we can hope, is at least losing a little bit of sleep over the fact that he has a 3-month jail sentence hanging over his head as a even mere possibility. Speaking of that data hack, Andrew Ginther says that they've invested $7 million and they may have to investigate more. He says they investigated $12 million in cybersecurity over the previous 5 years. He says, clearly, based on this, we are going to have to do more. Yes, your mayor just might be the alter ego of Captain Obvious. Now, we brought you yesterday the story courtesy of our friend Jack Windsor at the Ohio Press Network of election officials in Fairfield County discouraging, shall we say, threatening is a better word, threatening people who volunteered to work at the polls on Election Day, that they dare not use the most recent directives from the state Secretary of State's office to verify people's IDs. That one woman said, are you guys aware? She was in a training session and they were like seemingly not referring to at all new orders from Secretary of State Frank LaRose about verifying people's IDs. Frank LaRose has dedicated himself to making sure that Ohio's elections are not like Pennsylvania, Michigan, Florida, Georgia. Frank LaRose, doing his job as Secretary of State, issued a directive a while back for poll workers that, hey, this is how we're going to do it because you got to make sure that all these people are legal citizens in order to vote. But in Fairfield County, 2 people at the Board of Elections who were doing the advanced workshop on this is how you serve as a poll worker in Fairfield County, when they were confronted with the fact that, hey, there's nothing in the training that says we're going to incorporate this new way of vetting voters, she was told, now, if you insist on doing it that way, then you can't be a poll worker. Oops. She filed a complaint. And now Frank LaRose, according to Jack Windsor's reporting at the OhioPressNetwork.com, and Jack will certainly have more on this today when he hosts the Windsor Report from 5 to 6 p.m. here on The Answer. The quote from Frank LaRose, we have been in contact with the boards daily on this requirement. It is not optional, and there will be consequences for non-compliance. Good. Excellent. Fantastic. Outstanding. Way to go, Frank LaRose. Now, speaking of the upcoming election, did you know that we have at least 3 transgender candidates running across the state of Ohio? And they are big mad because there's a bill in front of the General Assembly that would force them to disclose their biological identity when they run for office. In fact, one transgender candidate, has been refused clearance on a ballot because of this. And this is, to me, inarguable that somebody should have to disclose, like, whether they're a man or a woman. Not that you should ever order your vote according to that. But what is more relevant to you as a voter is that if someone considers themselves a woman or a man when they are in fact not, that speaks to their mental state. And I would think you would want to know that if you decide whether or not you should vote for them.
Radio show Friday evenings at 6, Saturday afternoons at noon, or call our office today at 614-917-1040.
I would love to help you. If you are in the market for new flooring, go to brucehooley.com and click flooring. It's in the upper right-hand corner of the page. Yeah, when I'm not doing a radio show, I'm helping people beautify their homes, helping them save money and helping them get the products installed faster than they can from big box stores. We're a nimble operation. We have all the same name brands that you're looking for. I've had people say, I like this carpet. Can you get it? Yes, of course I can. And it's then been installed in their home and they've saved hundreds, if not $1,000 or more. And they always rave about our installers. Why are our installers so good? Well, because A, they have a great work ethic. B, they take their work seriously. And C, they want to get the job done right at your place so that when they go to the next place, they don't have to come back to your place because they've already been paid for that job. So they do a phenomenal job. You will love them. You will love everything about the operation. Go to brucehooley.com, click flooring in the upper right-hand corner of the page. And yes, we have luxury vinyl plank flooring too that's perfect for laundry rooms, kitchens, bathrooms, and the like. brucehooley.com, flooring in the upper right-hand corner of the page. I've noted this week that Kamala Harris' sudden media blitz, even though it's with a bunch of bootlicks like Stephen Colbert, Howard Stern, and The View, is a departure from her previous campaign strategy, which she borrowed from Joe Biden in 2020, where he hid in the basement throughout his campaign. Oh, sure, COVID, but he hid, and she has been hiding. She went like more than 2 months before she did any kind of an interview. Went on with Dana Bash, then she went on with, I think, Oprah, then she went on with Stephanie Rule, and then she went on with Colbert. And in every single interview, it's the same nonsense pablum over and over and over again. Dreams, hopes, aspirations, opportunity economy, blah, blah, blah. Now, all of a sudden, she is enlisting Barack Obama to come out and campaign for her. Barack Obama yesterday was sent out to lecture black men about their hesitancy to vote for Kamala Harris. And Obama broke out, his bro accent and all this kind of stuff, which was not lost upon Scott Jennings of CNN.
I mean, this is a political party that thinks gender is just a state of mind, and all of a sudden they're like, oh my God, we have trouble with moderate biological males. I mean, who is surprised about this? Democratic Party elites like Obama and like others have been viciously attacking Donald Trump since 2016. And everything they said about him is what they have always said about him. And I don't think it's particularly effective right now. I think their problem isn't attacking Trump. Their problem is finding reasons to give people to support Kamala Harris. The stop he made in this plea he's making to African-American men. I mean, he said today he insulted them. I mean, he first of all admits that they're not enthusiastic about her. He said, you just aren't feeling the idea of having a woman as president, and you're coming up with other alternatives and reasons for that. And I think one thing we've seen about Democrats over the years is that when they can't convince you to do something, they begin to insult you. Obama specifically, when he was having trouble with rural voters in Pennsylvania, go back all the way into his campaigns, he insulted them about their culture and values. I don't think it's helpful to insult a group of people who are already not enthusiastic about your campaign, but I think that's what he did today.
It is what he did. It's what he did back when he talked about people clinging to their guns and their religion. Kamala Harris last night was doing a town hall on Univision. Now, town hall is where the questions theoretically are just off the cuff and you don't know what's coming. But I find it very interesting that Kamala Harris last night had a teleprompter during her Univision town hall. A teleprompter. Does that make you wonder if the questions were pre-scripted? It certainly makes me wonder that. Univision, somebody in the control room lost track of the cameras or lost track of where the teleprompter is because they panned behind her at one point. And clear as day, right in front of her is a teleprompter with words on it. And then they're like, oh my goodness, we're showing the teleprompter. And the teleprompter promptly went dark. So that is what you got. Some woman stood up and asked about Kamala and her efforts to help people who are struggling in the middle class. Kamala's whiffed on this question before. Let's see how she did last night.
Yes. Mi pregunta es entonces, So my question is as follows. What are you going to do to help the middle class so that the cost of living does not destroy us?
Thank you for the question and your point. Listen, I know prices are too high still. You know prices are too high.
You backing out her
and we have to deal with it.
Spanish accent.
Here's how I feel about it. Again, you've heard my story. I come from the working class. I'm never going to forget where I come from. And
what a liar.
Part of what we have to do is build what I call an opportunity economy, where people have the opportunity, like you have described, for you to be able to work hard and your 5 daughters have an opportunity to then do what they and what you aspire for them to be able to do without having to worry about just getting by. I want you to be able to get ahead. So here's my plan. It includes what we need to do to bring down the cost of, for example, groceries. One of the issues I'm going to be taking on is price gouging.
Si, senor, so here's my plan. She never says what's in the plan. She says it includes something to bring down prices. What? What does it include? What's in it? Don't tell me what. Tell me what's in it. She can't do it. Opportunity. Did you hear? She broke out the Spanish accent. And she got the black accent for the union. You better thank a union member in Detroit. Now she's got the Spanish accent. She's a woman of many voices. No brains, but voices. Many voices. I wonder what old Joe Biden is thinking. If in fact, he can think still. It's been interesting over the past month to watch Joe Biden, intentionally or unintentionally, undermine Kamala Harris's campaign. Today's October 11th. A month ago, Joe Biden visited the Flight 93 National Memorial in Pennsylvania. That was where he put on a MAGA hat. Remember? He put on a MAGA hat. Guy was arguing with him in the audience. Joe Biden, he put on a MAGA hat. Okay, everybody looks like, okay, he's just being a good sport. Or he's brain dead and doesn't know what the hat says. Then, a week ago today, while Kamala's getting ready to take the stage in Michigan and networks are ready to take her remarks live, Joe Biden shows up in the White House press room. And he not only showed up in the White House press room, he said, I am in constant contact with her. We're singing from the same song sheet. She helped pass all the laws that are being employed now. I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message. Biden went on. She was a major player in everything we've done, including the passage of legislation, which we were told we could never pass. Her staff is interlocked with mine in terms of all the things that we're doing. Then Biden did a hurricane briefing at the exact same time Kamala was supposed to go on The View. We've passed the point of coincidence now. Joe Biden is actively working, passively, aggressively, but actively working to undermine her. Kamala has been critical of Ron DeSantis, the Florida governor. He won't take my call. Joe Biden, conversely, says, I've given Ron DeSantis my personal cell phone number. He's doing a great job, fantastic job. So you get the feeling that Joe is looking at the polls and seeing that she's not separating from Donald Trump, and he's thinking, what do they get rid of me for this knucklehead? You couldn't really blame him if he thought that, though he would have lost by a lot to Donald Trump, and certainly him giving up the nomination has allowed him to go back and hide at the White House. We don't hear from him for days at a time, but now he seems to be tan, rested, and ready to become a, I don't know, kind of a sneaky Trump surrogate just by pointing out the fact that Kamala and I are linked inextricably, irrevocably, and of course, incompetently. You know the last word applies because you've lived through the last 4 years of their teamwork.
With SRN News, I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. Residents are repairing the damage caused by Hurricane Milton and cleaning up the debris, also mourning the loss of 8 lives, but grateful that the devastation and death count not worse because a storm of this size it may have been, but thankfully Tampa was spared a direct hit. Meanwhile, elsewhere on the political scale, former President Trump holding on to a slight lead over Kamala Harris. In one nationwide poll, the Rasmussen survey gives him 49% compared to her 47%. An announcement yesterday from Attorney General Merrick Garland that TD Bank will pay some $3 billion in fines after it became the largest bank in U.S. history to plead guilty to violating a federal law aimed at preventing money laundering. And in early trading on Wall Street, the Dow was up more than 300 points. This is SRN News.
Donald Trump's indictment proves that saving America is not going to be easy. There are entrenched powers that are fighting this with everything they've got. They want to keep control over the country, the narrative, and the nation's money supply. Hi, I'm Lance Wallnow. I'm a news analyst, a Christian author, and evangelical leader. I speak to millions of people every week, people just like you. You see, what the elites are doing is using inflation and government handouts and now central bank digital currencies to determine how they're going to control America. And that's why I recommend all Christians start a gold IRA from the
You're the only one, idiot.
Because physical precious metals are one of the few ways you can maintain control over your own savings.
Whatever he's talking
to get a free info kit on gold IRAs, text the word faith to 989898. Birch Gold Group is the only gold company I trust. Get their free info kit and you'll see why a gold IRA can help you. There are no strings attached. Text the word faith to 989898, and you're going to be blessed by taking action.
We are the entertainment you love and information that shapes your day. We are your lifeline. We are your companion. We are broadcasters. Text radio to 52886 and let Congress know you depend on your local radio stations. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6745. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Terrible.
Generous programs
Terrible.
that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6745. That's 800-575-6745. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
This is my film.
Okie dokie.
Seth Polhoff brings hope and insight against socialism and communism on the Man in America podcast, now available on the Salem Podcast Network.
When you have taken an honest and an earnest journey to find the truth and discover truth, you arrive at a point where you're like, yeah, I'm pretty sure that my worldview is pretty close to the version of truth.
Subscribe to Man in America with Seth Polhoff on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Rumble, or at SalemPodcastNetwork.com. News, opinion, passion. Here, 98.9 FM, The Answer, anywhere you go. With the answers, now at 98.9TheAnswer.com. Also on your smart speakers, TuneIn, or iHeart.
It's going to be a fun weekend at the Hooley house. I have both my daughters who are at college are going to be home on fall break. Looking forward to that. If you have a college student coming home, you may ask them about the sleep accommodations in their dorm rooms. I bet they're going to tell you that the beds are very uncomfortable and the pillows are very uncomfortable. But that doesn't have to be the case. You can give them the gift of a great night's sleep, courtesy of the lowest prices ever at mypillow.com. A standard MyPillow is now under $15 at mypillow.com when you use my promo code Bruce. And if you want to go big, a queen pillow or a king MyPillow, you'll pay under $20. How can Mike Lindell do this? Well, a big box store placed a big order and then got a rash over something, probably something Mike Lindell said, or his stand for Donald Trump, and decided they would cancel their order at the last minute. You benefit. The prices have been discounted because they are awash in My Pillows. You're limited to 10 though. So go to mypillow.com and use the promo code Bruce. I attended a scholarship ceremony last night at Ohio Christian University in Circleville. Had a wonderful time. Thanks to everybody there who extended me the opportunity to speak. Met some really phenomenal students and enjoyed my drive down there through rural Madison County and Fairfield County very much. I was on Route 56 going down there, and I got to tell you, I did see a bothersome number of Harris Walls sign, maybe 5, but every single one, put a little knife in my heart. Because if you're living in rural Ohio, if you're a farmer and you are supporting the Democratic Party, set your alarm clock and wake up fast, please, because they are not going to do you any favors at all. Now, as I was perusing the yard signs on my way down, I noticed one that said something about a biodigester. A biodigester. And I'm like, I'm used to seeing signs protesting solar farms. By the way, there's a mammoth solar farm on Route 56 down on the way to Circleville. It's a complete waste of farmland. But I don't know what the biodigester is. I've heard of the biodigester. Some people have mentioned it. So we're going to have a guest on at 12:05, Brendan Shea, Madison County Commissioner-elect, to tell us about the biodigester. And it's just another demonstration of these nefarious big companies that operate in the shadows and foist their climate agenda on good people who live in rural areas, just like Bill Gates with the Oak Run Solar Farm in Madison County. These big companies don't care anything about the people whose policies they will disadvantage and the land which we need to grow sustainable, great crops to, formulate our food supply. I don't want to I know this will bother some of you because you're not like in a situation health-wise where you have to eat healthy like I do. But I'm telling you, they are poisoning our food supply. And this biodigester, what I know about it, we're going to find out more at 12:05 when Brendan Shea joins the show. This is really, really dangerous for the groundwater, the quality of the soil, and all the things that emanate from that. So stand by for Brendan at 12:05 today. Meanwhile, we have a new contender. I feel like I should have like Michael Buffer here to announce the entry of Anna Lynn Winfrey from the Columbus Dispatch into the ring for a knockdown, drag-out battle with, the champion of the worst reporter at the Dispatch, Haley B. Miller. Anna Lynn Winfrey, though, is a contender because she writes today about a Grove City man pleading guilty to charges from the January 6th insurrection at the U.S. Capitol. Okay, it was not an insurrection, but that doesn't make her a contender for worst reporter at the Columbus Dispatch. What does is something she notes later on in the story. First, she tells of Dustin Martin, age 30, who's going to be sentenced in February now because he's pleaded to a felony charge of civil disorder and a misdemeanor charge of disorderly and disruptive conduct because he was at the Capitol on January the 6th. Then she tells of someone who drove with him from Grove City, Cody Lee Tippett. She does note that President Donald Trump's speech to protesters included Mr. Trump telling supporters that Biden was, quote, an illegitimate president, and, quote, we will stop the steal. Now, Anna Lynn Winfrey does not note that President Trump told people to peacefully and patriotically protest, which tells me that her story is slanted to fit her perspective. Ironically, this is exactly what I talked to the students at Ohio Christian University about last night. In that, education, journalism, two of the main influential institutions in the country, have been captured by people, bad professors who've ruined Ivy League schools and other universities with their personal agendas, journalists, and a whole pot full of them at ABC, NBC, CNBC. Yeah, they're bad. They're on the whole Ron DeSantis didn't take Kamala Harris's call. All of them, MSNBC, CNN, they're all terrible. But Anna Lynn Winfrey did not report that Trump also said peacefully and patriotically protest. You got to be even-handed in your reporting. I mean, you don't really have to if you work at the Columbus Dispatch, but you should if you care about journalism, which of course these people don't care about journalism, and a lot of academia doesn't care about academia, and both institutions should be about following where the truth leads rather than predetermining where they want the truth to lead and then finagling a few facts, leaving out others, or leaving out facts entirely to fit their predetermined and preferred outcome. Now, here is why Anna Lynn Winfrey is threatening to knock out Haley B. Miller as the worst reporter at the Columbus Dispatch. I quote directly from Anna Lee Winfrey's story. See if you can spot the erroneous reporting. 5 people died during the insurrection at the Capitol. Hello? How many died? 5? No. 4? No. 3? No. 2? Sorry. 1. 1 died. Even if you stipulate that it was an insurrection, 1 died. And that 1 was Ashley Babbitt, a Trump supporter, who was, from my perspective, murdered, or at the very least, a victim of manslaughter from an overzealous person who worked in some sector of law enforcement that day. He shot her without provocation. She wasn't armed. She was on the other side of a door, shot her in the neck. But Anna Lee Winfrey reports 5 people died during the insurrection at the Capitol. That is not accurate. That is not even remotely accurate. So I tried to call the Columbus Dispatch today. You might be interested to know that their newsroom telephone number is not listed on their website. I managed to find it through other means. Called, navigated a unending phone menu, left a message, haven't heard back, and won't, because they know that this is wrong. And they know that this is them using their own agenda, their own preferred outcome, and then fitting the facts to it. Now, besides a rotten media shaping organization like the Dispatch in Central Ohio, we also have a broken judicial system. I want to make clear up front that I feel sympathy for this young person who suffered serious injuries in a car accident in 2021. But I also want to make it clear how utterly ridiculous it is that she has received a $21 million settlement for losing the use of her arms and her legs in this car crash. A Franklin County jury yesterday awarded $21 million to Ellie Handa for suffering significant spinal cord injuries in a crash that occurred around 1 a.m. in the campus area in February of 2021. She was 17 at the time. That's terrible. However, court records say Handa and 2 friends had gone to a bar in the 1700 block of North High Street because of its reputation for allowing high school students and underage customers to buy alcohol with fake IDs. So they were underage. They knew they were underage. They went to a bar where they thought they could get in, and they did get in. They ran into a friend who they knew from high school. He's 19, but not licensed to be drinking the vodka that he had in his possession, because he got into the bar with a fake ID too. He had a 1-liter bottle of vodka. He invited Handa and her friends to go with his group to another party. They got in the back of his Mercedes. He was driving drunk. He crashed it. She suffered catastrophic damage. The driver had a 0.17 blood alcohol content. And Handa sued the driver, the bar, and the bar's owner, and she got $21 million. She made a series of terrible decisions that were of her own volition, and she gets generational wealth out of it. Now, I'm sure she would trade it for the use of her arms and her legs, but by my view, she's not entitled to a dollar for this, because what happened to her was completely under her control.
Area tomorrow night low 59. On Sunday, cloudy, breezy, shower and a high 74. And then intervals of clouds.
Our court system is nuts.
A much cooler day. High Monday afternoon 57. Sunny and breezy Tuesday, high 55. I'm Steve Williams on 98.9 FM, The Answer.
When it comes to safety, don't settle for anything less than the best. At Elite Fire Services, we protect what matters most, your business and your peace of mind. Our expert team provides top-notch fire safety inspections, and we service fire extinguishers, fire sprinkler systems, backflow preventers, fire alarms, kitchen hood suppression systems, and exit lighting. Visit elitefire.org today to get a free quote and ensure your fire safety is in elite hands. Because when it comes to protection, you deserve the best. Elite Fire Services, your safety is our mission.
Is your life affected by someone else's gambling? If your answer is yes, or you have more questions, Gam-Anon is there for you. Gam-Anon helps family members, friends, and those affected by a compulsive gambler find answers and strategies for dealing with the finances, debts, and strained relationships caused by gambling. Visit gam-anon.org for the national meeting list. Come to a meeting whether or not the gambler in your life seeks help or even recognizes that there is a gambling problem. For more information, go to gam-anon.org.
Dennis Prager here. Join me on an unforgettable cruise to the Caribbean this November. Imagine 9 days basking in the sun, surrounded by the stunning beauty of a tropical paradise. We'll cruise in the vibrant islands of Half Moon Cay, Curacao, Bonaire, Aruba, and more. We'll be joined by special guest Sean McDowell, and we'll both be sharing insights into current events in a way I hope energizes and challenges you. Secure your spot before spaces run out by calling 855-565-5519 or online at PragerCruise.com.
Okay, everybody, I'll have something to offer you today, something absolutely free. Hillsdale College, the Great American College, with a huge and effective educational effort on behalf of liberty, is giving away free copies of the Constitution and Declaration of Independence.
The agency says as part of the SIV program. The State Department is telling us he was not part of the SIV program, which had strenuous vetting. They say he was never issued an SIV or immigrant visa, and DHS paroled him into the U.S. They further expect.
Every American should be familiar with our nation's principles of liberty, and how better than reading America's founding documents. Have a free copy mailed to you. Go to charlieforhillsdale.com right now and complete a simple form. They'll put it in the mail for you with free shipping. Again, this offer expires soon. Claim your free pocket Constitution today at charlieforhillsdale.com. That is charlieforhillsdale.com.
Our government has engorged itself on borrowed money. Now we are over $30 trillion in debt. If this bubble finally implodes, many Americans would be left penniless and heartbroken. For example, what happens if state and federal pension funds go broke, or 401ks and IRAs get cut in half due to hyperinflation? Hi, I'm Lance Wallner, news analyst, best-selling author, and evangelical leader to millions of people just like you. People who understand something big is coming. Now's the time to prepare with a physical gold IRA from Birch Gold Group. Precious metals are among the most proven hedges you can make. And they're even better inside a tax advantage account. To get a free info kit on gold IRAs, text the word FAITH, F-A-I-T-H, to 989898. Birch Gold Group is the only gold company I trust. Get their free info kit and see why a gold IRA can help you. There are no strings attached, so just text FAITH to the number 989898 right now, and I pray you are blessed with continued prosperity.
The Battleground Talkers Tour stop at Genoa in Westerville creeps ever closer. Have you gotten your tickets yet? I know you intended to, and you just haven't done it. Well, I would go do it because we are well over 400 in the house, and I'd like to push it to 600. I really would. I mean, the last time we had one of these events, we were over 600, and we had the benefit of a Saturday night. Now, you wouldn't want it on this Saturday night because there's too much going on with the Buckeye game and the Guardians game, but we're going to do it on a Tuesday, October the 22nd in Genoa. I'll be there to welcome you, give the opening speech, moderate the discussion on stage that will include Hugh Hewitt, Mike Gallagher, Seth Holhouse, and also our own Jack Windsor. Jack will weigh in on the races in Ohio, none more consequential than the state Supreme Court and Bernie Moreno as Senate. So be there with us. Go to 9890answer.com to get your tickets, or use the promo code Bruce25 to get VIP tickets to the Battleground Talkers Tour, October 22nd at Genoa. I just want to finish up with a few more details on this crazy verdict out of Franklin County Common Pleas Court, where a woman who was paralyzed in a 2021 car crash in the campus area got $21 million from a jury. Now, listen, this is horrible. I have daughters right in this age group. And I obviously be horrible. You have to care for someone who's paralyzed. But in our culture, like, have we lost complete accountability for personal actions? Answer, yes, we have. Like, I mean her no harm. I feel terrible for her that she did this. She made very bad decisions. She was underage, and she purposed to go to a bar in the campus area that had a reputation for letting people in underage with fake IDs. She got in. She ran into a high school friend who also got into the bar on a fake ID. He had a 1-liter bottle of vodka. He'd been drinking. She and her friends decided it'd be just a great idea to get in the back of his Mercedes. And then they're surprised he takes off driving recklessly, surprised he gets in a car crash. Nobody expects to end up paralyzed in an accident like this. When you do, it's extremely unfortunate. And I have empathy for her living what I'm sure will be a very difficult life the rest of her life. I have empathy for her parents. But this was something that occurred because of her bad decisions. And I see no reason why she should get $21 million for it. You want to crack down on the bar for allowing kids in with fake IDs? Have at it. The jury found that the driver of the car was 65% liable for her injuries. The bar was 25% liable, and she was 10% liable. 10%? That's nuts. That's absolutely nuts. If that was my daughter, I wouldn't expect a dime. So this is a story that I talk about more for what it tells us about our culture than about her personal situation. I have empathy. I have compassion for her personal situation. I feel terrible. I don't mean to convey that I don't have sympathy. It's awful. But you made a series of bad decisions that no one forced you to make, and then you want other people to pay for it. This is what drives me crazy about the time we are in right now. Also, I'm absolutely up to my neck done with Kamala Harris trying to leverage hurricanes for her political gain. We've had hurricanes and tornadoes and floods and disasters. Have you ever in 3.5 years heard from her a peep out of her on any of this stuff? Oh, I'm trying to help the people of blah, 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 blah. No, of course. But now she's apparently worried about where she stands in the polls because she's trying to inject herself into Hurricane Helene, which she should just stay the heck out of that because FEMA and the White House, they're getting lit up over their disastrous North Carolina response. And yesterday, CNBC has Ron DeSantis on. They got lucky in Florida. Hurricane Milton didn't hit where and how hard it was anticipated to. We still have people who died. We still have catastrophic damage, but it could have been way, way worse. But the details out of North Carolina are just awful. I got a story I'm going to share with you here. But first, I want you to hear not just what Ron DeSantis says here when he's being badgered by this nutso CNBC host about the Kamala Harris claim that Ron DeSantis won't return her phone calls. Of course he won't. He's got work to do. But listen to the recall off the top of his head. Listen to the command. Listen to the eloquence of Ron DeSantis. I'm going to stop complaining about the fact that he's not a Republican presidential candidate and just take comfort in the fact that maybe 4 years from now, he, J.D. Vance, Josh Hawley, or one of the other people on the deep Republican bench that we have will be. But listen to DeSantis shut this fool down, bugging him about Kamala Harris and how comprehensively and effectively and boldly he answers.
In the United States, I'm working with the director of FEMA. I'm marshaling all my state assets. We've been doing this now nonstop for over 2 weeks between Helene and this. And so if there's anything I can leverage to benefit my people, I'm going to do it. The fact of the matter is they put out a story saying I didn't even know she was trying to reach me, but she has no role in this process. And I've been dealing with these storms in Florida under both Trump and Biden. Neither of them ever politicized it. And in fact, all the storms I've dealt with under this administration, although I've worked well with the president, she has never called in Florida. She has never offered any support. So what she's doing is she's trying to inject herself into this because of her political campaign. So as the governor here who's leading this, I don't have time for those games. I don't care about her campaign. Obviously, I'm not a supporter of hers, but she has no role in this process. And so I'm working with the people I need to be working with. We're leveraging the resources I need to be leveraging. And for her to try to say that my focus should be on catering to her rather than worrying about my own people just shows she doesn't understand what it means to respond to these natural disasters.
Amen. 100%. Every word of that. America's best governor, Ron DeSantis. Now, the death toll in North Carolina is well over 200, and this is one of the most depressing stories I have seen. One of the families in North Carolina, in the area where mudslides roared through the mountains near Fairview, North Carolina, one family lost 11 members. 11. The Craig family stayed home, didn't anticipate, because no one did, the impact of the catastrophic rains on the mountains and the mudslides, and everyone who was in their homes, and they had like 3 or 4 homes in their family. All of them lived, cousins, brothers, uncles, aunts in this area. And everyone who was in a home in the area at the time died in a mudslide. One of the members who survived says, "I have not been able to process this yet. It's not new because it feels like it's been forever, but I don't even know what day it is. We'll never be able to make sense of this. It's our community and our town. I don't know that I'll ever be the same." 11 people. 11 people in an extended family. Oh, man, that's horrible. There's a GoFundMe that has been started. It's raised $127,000. It's really, it's a lot of money, but it's a paltry sum. In Buncombe County, North Carolina, where this little town of Fairview is located, where these 11 people died, 72 people are fatalities of Hurricane Helene. So this is going to take years. I hope to get down there with some men from my church to go down there and do cleanup. Samaritan's Purse is doing phenomenal work in that area. Obviously, pictures, you can get a flavor of how horrible it is, but I really want to see it for myself, and I want to talk to the people, and hopefully I can make that happen with some of the things that I already have on my calendar medically and otherwise. But boy, pray for the Craig family in North Carolina, because that is just utterly devastating. 11 people lost in the aftermath of Hurricane Helene. Second hour, Brendan Shea, Madison County Commissioner-elect. What is a biodigester, and why is BlackRock, the massive financial firm, putting it in Madison County?
Wonder, and the creators of Jesus Revolution comes Whitebird.
I'm sure your father has told you stories about when I was a young girl.
Hope can lift you.
You stay with us, okay?
Courage can save you.
You're the greatest person I've ever met.
Love can free you.
When kindness can cost you your life, it becomes like a miracle.
From the director of Finding Neverland, Whitebird, rated PG-13, may be inappropriate for children under 13. In theaters now. Tickets and showtimes at whitebird.movie.
Before the most pivotal election of our lifetime, the Battleground Talkers Tour comes to Columbus. Be a part of the critical conversations that will influence the direction of America. See Bruce Hooley, Hugh Hewitt, Mike Gallagher, and special guests live on stage Tuesday, October 22nd at Genoa Church in Westerville. The Battleground Talkers Tour. Tickets start at just $5 and are available now at 989theanswer.com.
Find us at 989theanswer.com. Download our apps. Stream us 24/7. WTOH and WTOH HD1, Upper Arlington, Columbus.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Jason Walker. Florida authorities beginning to clean up the debris now left by Hurricane Milton. At least 8 people have been killed, but many are relieved that Milton wasn't as bad as it could have been. But make no mistake, authorities say the flooding is devastating.
One of the most profound things that I'm seeing out there is the flooding. We have flooding in places and to levels that I've never seen, and I've lived in this community my entire life. It's absolutely staggering what we're seeing out there.
Also at townhall.com, Milton's rampage is not swaying leaders who oppose returning to Washington to approve billions of dollars for disaster assistance. Here's correspondent Bernie Bennett.
President Joe Biden on Thursday said lawmakers should return to Capitol Hill immediately from their pre-election recess, echoing pleas from both Republican and Democratic lawmakers from the afflicted states. But despite questions about the solvency of the Federal Emergency Management Agency's disaster fund, House Speaker Mike Johnson and top appropriators insist the agency can manage its fine with the $20.3 billion that Congress freed up for it late last month. Biden has largely backed statements from FEMA officials saying the agency has the resources needed to support recovery efforts after Helene and Milton. Even in a letter he wrote to congressional leaders Friday, Biden's request was for action, quote, after the Congress comes back into session on November 12th. Bernie Bennett, Washington.
Well, the two very unwelcome guests named Helene and Milton squirming their way into this year's election.
All right, that'll do it for the portion of the show that I can live stream on my social media channels. You can go to the Bruce Hooley Show Facebook page or the 989 The Answer Facebook page to hear hour number 2 of the show. Hope you have a great weekend. Man, can we get some hits and some runs off this Scooble character and get to the Yankees in the ALCS? I'm ready for that. I feel confident about that. It's going to be a tough one Saturday night, though. We'll have the answer on Monday, won't we? All right. Take care. Have a good weekend. See you later.